Welcome to Quantum Finance. My name is Parker. I'm the head trader here, but I am not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. So in today's video, we'll take a look at the economic data, we'll look at some news, we'll do a market recap, and then we will look at the trading opportunities for today. So as you can see here, there was no economic data today, but we do have consumer confidence coming out tomorrow. So we'll look at some news. Today we did have the Kenyan president come out and recommend to all the Kenyans to stop using US dollars and to get rid of them. And in this video he does say that the market is going to change within a few weeks. So that's really interesting to hear the leader of an African country coming out and saying to drop dollars. If you do remember in Friday's video, I was talking about how there was a major event that was going to happen in society just based off how the market squeezed and how the dollar squeezed. And then you have, the Kenyan president come out and say the whole market's going to change within a few weeks. I mean, definitely keep a heads up. Definitely think something big's probably coming around the corner here. And we also have Kenya signing a deal with Saudi Arabia and UAE to buy oil with Kenyan shillings instead of US dollars. And we actually this weekend had CNN and Fox News both do a de-dollarization segment this weekend. And here we have it. This is the BRICS nation. These are the people that are, these are the countries that are turning away from the US dollar and creating their own financial system and trade system, to oppose the United States and to gain control of the, the power structure of the world as China is rising to power and the US is falling. So here you have Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. So yeah, that's your BRICS nations. This is the core of the new alliance here. And we did have Silicon Valley Bank sold to First Citizens Bank. And we have China cutting U.S. Treasury holdings to the lowest levels since the GFC. And they are continuing to sell. And at the same time, they are increasing their gold reserves. And in President Biden's 2024 budget, they are requesting for 4.7 trillion in tax increases. And if you watch this video here, the Treasury Secretary does confirm that. And we do have some XRP news that $755 million was moved in 4 seconds and cost only 1 cent. And we have MicroStrategy purchasing an additional 6,455 Bitcoins today for approximately 150 million. And we do have Binance and the CEO getting sued by the CFTC over alleged regulatory violations. So now we'll look at the markets here. We'll start in the debt market here with the 10-year yield. As you can see, big green day here on the 10-year yield, getting a nice bounce off that lower extreme on the weekly chart there. The dollar, red day here, and the $2 just sitting here at the lower end of this daily range. As you can see, these bands are starting to move horizontally here. SPY, we do have a red day in the SPY pulling back in, getting a slight wick there off that midline. The weekly chart doing the same thing, gapped up above that midline, and we are pulling into it right now. Bitcoin, red day here, and Bitcoin pulling back after getting rejected up here at this upper extreme on the weekly chart. After pretty much nothing happening last week, just pulling back here, coming to retest this midline. XRP having a pretty nice day here after consolidating over the weekend, looking like it wants to come up and try to retest and break these highs from last week. Up here sitting above that weekly extreme. So yeah, we are looking for it to break through last week's highs and then ultimately break through this 55 cent level so we can start getting new higher highs here on the weekly chart. Oil getting a massive day here, bouncing up through that midline and getting through this previous key level here that we were talking about from December. Yeah, really strong day here in oil, getting a massive wick off that on that monthly chart. Gold, red day here, and gold too, just kind of consolidating up here at the daily into this range. Just waiting for this midline here to catch up before we get hopefully a push up here to break all-time highs. Silver, red day as well, just kind of sitting up here at the upper end of this daily range. So now we'll look at the trades. We'll start on the daily chart, the S&P 500, do a little volume analysis. As you can see, super low volume day today. Majority selling, but super low volume day compared to, the past couple weeks. I mean, today was definitely really slow. As you can see, this is one of the most low volume days we've got, looking back since February 15th. So it's really low volume today. So look at the 5 minute. So we did get a big gap up here. I'll zoom out so you can see yesterday or Friday. So Friday we did have that reversal day off that falling wedge. We did get a big gap up, and we also did get another falling wedge here into Friday's highs, wicking down above that 100-day moving average before getting a reversal to come up and retest the open. And then we ended up just kind of selling off into the close. So yeah, this was a bullish reversal pattern here on this falling wedge. So just like on Friday, this was a play for call options to get long. We were looking here at these 397 calls strike options here. So I mean, you could have gotten long here because we did have the upside momentum with the squeeze, the downtrend break. So you could have gotten long here, or in here, But if you got long on that break, we'll just go from the break because that's where most people probably got long at. Got about 77 cents here, and on your retest up through VWAP, you're looking at about 42% gain. And on the retest of the open, you're looking at a 87% gain. But I do want to talk about this trade some more because this was definitely a grind, right? You're breaking out here at 12:15, but you're not getting this high until 3 o'clock. So that is a super long, drawn out trade, right? And when you're trading contracts that expire the day of, you have time decay, right? So you see here on the contracts are making lower lows, even though the price is making higher lows. Because this trade took so long, you were really getting worked by time decay on this trade. So today was one of those days where you had to constantly be like actively reassessing and readjusting your risk so you didn't get stopped out, right? So you're going to have to be moving your stop loss around a bit, just keep increasing your risk because this trade is taking an extremely long time. This trade is taking hours, right? So you're losing a lot of theta, like a lot of time, on this trade. So yeah, on each pullback, you would want to be like slowly lowering your risk here based off it shows it on the chart. If y'all have ever day traded options, like when you put your stop loss here on the contracts, it will show you where like the implied move would be in order to stop out at that stop price. So you're gonna have to play with the stop loss as the day goes on, because the chart still looked perfectly fine and strong. But if you just had the stop loss here on these contracts right at the lows, you're getting stopped out just due to pure time decay. Even though the chart was making higher lows, the contracts are making lower lows. So yeah, that's definitely something you got to be aware of on days like this. Those low volume days that do take a long drawn out time in order for the play to, happen. And we can look at the relativity here, give you another reason why this took so long. As you can see, the falling wedge here on the SPY, and then you also had this kind of long falling wedge here, but it kept getting violated. The NASDAQ here was extremely, extremely weak. Because you see the SPY pulled into Friday's highs here, but the NASDAQ here got rejected at Friday's high and went well down into that price range from Friday. As you can see. You can see how much weaker the NASDAQ was pulling into this price range where the SPY was sitting up here on top. So there was a lot of weakness today in technology. So you had to be pretty patient for the SPY, for these call options to really, get the move we were looking for, because we had to wait on technology to catch a bid, right? It went down for a long time, and then consolidated before finally reversing here at about, 130, right? And then when we finally got the reversal, in the NASDAQ up to VWAP, we were able to get a retest of the open there on the S&P 500. So yeah, we can zoom out more on the SPY here so you can kind of get a better idea of what was going on. So we'll start up here on the 1 hour. As you can see, we got that falling wedge at the open, pulling right into Friday's highs, that 100-day. And we also had a bullish crossover of the trade line in that 20 EMA too, and that candle did wick exactly off that 1 hour 20 EMA, and then it continued to stay above that in order to push it to the open. And as you can see here on the 30-minute, it did as well. It was wicking down through it, but it was closing above that 30-minute, so it was able to hold. And then we finally got that that 15 minute, get close enough to that trade line in order to get a nice trigger up there to move it to this upper extreme and that open on the 15-minute chart. And you can see on the 2-hour too, it also wicked off that 2-hour trade line as well. So yeah, pretty good trade on call options today. It was definitely a grind. It definitely was more of an advanced trade because you were having to actively, readjust your risk profile here and your stop losses in order to not get stopped out by time decay. But, if you played your cards right here and were adjusting your risk, this turned out to be a nice trade. And there was also another trade I wanted to go over here. It was Bank of America. So Bank of America here, you can see we got the open. We got this downtrend break. I'll show you that downtrend here. So you can just look up here at this 2-hour chart. You see this is a, part of that banking crisis. This is kind of like a recovery trade here. We had this downtrend. As you can see here on the 15-minute, we did break above it at the open. Get our push up, pull back, push up, pull back, squeeze with upward momentum shift right above VWAP, and we had that trade line come in, and then we got a nice push up here to the highs. I got these contracts pulled up here. So if you're getting in somewhere around here on this momentum shift, you're looking at, we'll call it on the upper end, about 36 cents. And on that push up, you were looking at about a 50% gain. So yeah, nice trade here on Bank of America. We can look at the daily chart. So you can see this is just a big gap up recovery type trade after getting some nice buy volume come in on Friday. But yeah, you can see here on the weekly chart, starting the week off green after just getting, hit pretty hard here for the past 3 weeks. So yeah, decent little recovery trade here on Bank of America for a nice squeeze up and out of that downtrend, 2 new highs on the day. Yeah, so pretty good trades here today. Low volume day, pretty slow day, pretty boring. I mean, if you were in this SPY trade, this was a grind. This was a battle fighting that time decay because the chart looked fine all day, but, that time decay could really mess with you on these contracts. So yeah, just definitely keep an eye out for that, on low volume days like this where you have pretty big spread in relativity, where you have a decent setup in the SPY, but just extreme weakness in the NASDAQ. Just be aware of, if the trade is going to take longer, to readjust your risk to take into account time decay. So you're not getting stopped out purely because of the behavior of the contracts and not your actual assessment of the chart and the trade itself. But yeah, so we got some good call options on the SPY and on the Bank of America today for that banking recovery trade. So that'll do it for the video. Appreciate y'all watching, and I will talk to y'all later.